Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Good to have you on Atlantic Blowout, where we bring you a syndicated live program of the network and we hold conversation on special interest topics. We do this through news, events, and stories from our correspondent reports, expert opinions, and stakeholders analysis. On the show today, we'll take off with Anchor's charts, AY seek arrest of comedian over defamation. And in Rivers State, lawmakers to right Governor Fubara over recent appointment. Still in Rivers State, Fubara must obey dictates of peace deal. That's coming from APC Court Caretaker Committee Chairman Tony Okocha. And in Edo State, Governor Basike orders a re-accreditation of vigilante operatives. And we'll take off to Ogun State, where lawmakers are set to investigate allegations against the former Speaker Olomo. And on by-election, Chief of Air Staff Abubakar Hassan have asked INEC to settle old debts. And in Kano State, Governor Yusuf debunks agreement rumor with APC. On maritime, for the government to sanction vessels contravening sulfur regulations. All right, our guest on the show today, we have Mr. Chris Amechi. He's joining us as a public affairs analyst. And then we have Elebosi Piagbara, the former MOSOP president, who is joining us virtually. And we have Barrister Archie Williams Nwobodo, who is also joining us virtually. He's joining us as a public affairs analyst. Now, before we take the break, you know you can join us from anywhere you are in the world. All you need to do is log on to our website, atlanticnetwork.tv, where you can watch us live, or better still, download our app. If you don't have that already, that is, download that from the App Store, and that's ATN Live. That's the name of the app. You can download that. Why don't you, in fact, as a matter of fact, watch us live on Facebook or YouTube. We are Atlantic Television Network. And these are the live platforms, some of the live platforms you can watch us from anywhere in the world. Do well to share with your loved ones as well. But now, what we are going to do right now is to quickly take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you Anchor's Chat, and afterwards, our guests are ready for the show. So stay with us. We'll come back to you after the break.
To Badagry for a wedding and he came back with a car. How is that even possible?
Haven't you heard the saying that with God, all things are possible?
Spare me all that and tell me what's going on.
You're not even happy. She brought home a car to be taken into the market. You selling marijuana and tramadol, destroying people's lives? Mom, I'm not destroying anybody's life. If I do not sell to these people, they will still buy from someone else.
There is a smoke on the mountain. It will not take time now, it will turn to fire.
My own now money for hand, back for ground.
What kind of money do you want to make?
Answer me now.
Sharp money. You go Bute?
Yes.
No, not in this house. What did they happen for here? Why should the waka like say she know where?
You have been avoiding me since that swimming pool stuff.
That alcohol stuff, point of correction.
Welcome back to Atlantic Blowout, and it's time for Anchor's Chat, everyone. Renowned comedian Ayo Makun, aka AY, petitions the Nigerian police seeking the arrest of a content creator named Agozi Samuel over allegations made in a now viral video where Agozi alleged that Makun, as AY, is having an affair with Yul Edochie's first wife, May. Agozi Comedy, as he is known on Facebook, claims the comedian is the reason Yul and his wife, May, are having issues. AY, in a petition dated January 24th, through his lawyers, reading part. The site publication alleges that our client is involved in an extramarital affair with what May Edochie, the wife of Yul Edochie, and that our client was responsible for the marital crisis between May and her husband. For the purpose of clarity, the exact false, baseless, and untrue statements knowingly and intentionally made at several intervals by Agozi Samuel in the said video is reproduced as follows. Agozi said in the video, "You slept with May because of you. Yul Edochie and his wife separated because you are having an affair with Yul Edochie's wife, which is May." The general public did not know what is happening, even the court case that is going on. The general public did not know. Agozi said, "I told you on the 31st night that 2024, I'll bring you down in 2024. I'll be the one to bring you down. For you to bring down a home that lasted for many years, you made them separated. You made the wife live differently, and the husband. What are you looking for in somebody's wife that your wife does not have? Your plan now is to go and marry me. I know all the plans you want to. I know all the plans you want to go and marry me. You think I don't know? Well, the 52-year-old comedian that added that the allegation that AY has affected his brand and caused a great blow to his personal life, career, integrity, and reputation. Business associates and the general public. AY urged the Delta State Police to take immediate action in investigating and apprehending Mr. Gozi Samuel as evidence of defamation and cyberbullying has been provided. Okay, all right. First, when the video was made public, I think it was in TikTok or so. That is where people say they saw the video or something. I can't remember right now. But, or Facebook, I can't tell. But here is the thing. I didn't bother seeing that video. And I will tell you why. Because I already saw write-ups about it. Making, someone, I think it was Stella Demikokos who said on Instagram that, hey, the video she saw, what the person said, and all of that, she doesn't know how to post it. Immediately, I told myself, I don't need this energy in my head. I don't need energy in my mind. I'm not going to see the video. Then subsequent, I think that was yesterday, then other bloggers, other influencers began to talk about how the same human being who made that video have come out to apologize. Now, recanting what he said, he didn't say that. I'm afraid that the world of social media, or words, or our ability to speak and communicate, on several occasions have been taken for granted, that the words you are saying is hitting another human's heart. That your word is a sharp knife to the skin or to the body of or the flesh of a human. And that's what the knife can do to the flesh of a human is what words can do to the heart of another. Especially when these words are conscious lies. Especially when these words are lies consciously told to defame, to destroy another person. Yes, we're talking about AY today, but look around your circle, look around your corners. I've been in situations where someone told me, is this the person you want to do this with? Oh, they said he did this, they said he did that. Interestingly, and I'm going to say this to you, most of the time, this person is not actually what he or she has been made be believed by several people. And I can tell you this for free, for someone that been in the middle of all kinds of lies and defamation, I mean lies, consciously cooked up, lies that never existed, consciously cooked up to see how you can destroy another person. So this morning I was watching Priscilla Shirel, one of these U.S. preacher's daughter, and she's also a preacher herself, and then she was talking about something that got my attention. I wish I could get that video to you, but it's not for this show. But let me just highlight it a bit. She said, she was preaching, in the course of it, she said, when people do things to her and they apologize, she just, lets it fly off her shoulders. She doesn't really, take it to heart, like try to make much out of it. She said, but when you go out of your way, and she discovered that she consciously, connivingly took your time, plotted, or her loved ones, to make sure that you destroy with a conscious intent to destroy. She's going to do something. She started pulling off her earrings, got angry. You could see her reaction. She says, she's going to come for you. So just like that, people were like, oh, how did she get from 0 to 100 immediately? Because I want to see people being pious, people who are in front line, people who are religious teachers, who are will suddenly feel like because they are a certain persons, they no longer have a life. So kudos to AY for taking a step to mitigate this ASAP. Remember that AY's wife has been on social media making all kinds of snide comments of late, which indicates that there is problem in that home. And of all time that this human being called Samuel Agozi will pick up instruments to destroy this man, it just so happened to be at a time when it's clear that this guy, he have some emotional struggles, some issues at home. It was public, and everyone pointed at her husband, because the last she did was, oh, she's being threatened. If anything happens to her, she's gone to the police. That's AY's wife to talk to and all of that. Again, you know, sometimes when people fight and you fight on social media, you also give room for people to take advantage of your home front. I believe that that's what this young man did. Whether there is some element of truth in it or not, but he will have to prove it. I don't think apology is enough, especially when you tell these lies and put it out in the public. And guess what? He said he wants to trend. That when he puts out posts, people don't like his posts. People really like his posts. People really follow up on what he does. And then, of all things to do, you didn't crave for wisdom. You didn't crave to say, this AY, who is just a comedian, who has made so much out of comedy, and from having mega events to being a producer and some of the blockbusters we have right now, and all of that, you had nothing. So all you could do is to see how you can pick up for your fellow human being for no just cause to tarnish his image. Family that is already fighting, come on, that is heinous. You don't build, you don't pick up. I refuse somehow inside of my head to believe that this Samuel Agozi did not intentionally do this to create more problems for those involved. May, on the other hand, May Yuledoche, that is, is being dragged by her husband not too long ago, the one who just turned the pastor, by the way. Good. So he had his first virtue service yesterday. That's Yuledoche. Oh, how she did plastic surgery and all of the issues and all of that and all of that. This is a woman who lost her son. In the course of that, her marriage broke down. She's filed for divorce and all of that. This is another man who is clearly having issues with his wife from the wife's posts on social media. And then all you could do is to make yourself agent provocateur by putting yourself in the middle of these people to tear apart whatever is left of their relationships. Now, I totally, as far as you can take it, people need to learn their lessons. That you have the ability to speak, that you have the ability to communicate, does not mean that you've been given the power to destroy other people. That you have access to certain persons doesn't mean that you've been given access to destroy them. So I totally support AY. People shouldn't do things like this and get away with it. For those who have the power and the heart and the mind to fight defamation, to fight libel, please, by all means, go ahead and do that. People should learn their lessons. People shouldn't think that they can do certain things and then they apologize. And then when they apologize, that makes it okay. No. I give a typical example. If anyone thinks that, oh, AY is, why there's no point the guy has apology is not, like I've always said, apologizing for what you did does not mean you will not pay for the consequences, or you will now have to receive the consequences of your actions. It doesn't work that way. Apology is actually a gift to yourself, to ease your conscience of what consequences of that action. I totally agree that it should be meted out to the one who is involved. That is the only way people learn their lessons. If he doesn't do this and make it public too, a lot of persons will assume that it is okay. Nah, it is not okay. So he should take it as far as he wants to take it. Good a thing he can afford it. Good a thing he's a public figure. Good a thing this happened in public glare. Good a thing that this guy came out now to say, oh, that was not true. That he didn't mean that. You look for someone to pick. You couldn't be creative enough to get your skits or something to work for you. Suddenly you wanted to trend. You wanted to be known. You now picked on a human being. And it's not even as if you not even human beings. You dragged Yuledoche, May Edochie, and their children into this. You dragged AY, his wife, and their children into this. And again, not just their children, their loved ones. Now he says this has affected his brand and his... So, where there are actions, there should be consequences. Until these consequences are pulled and dragged to the fore, people will not learn their lessons. So as far as I'm concerned, that you have the ability to speak, or you have social media, or that you can write, or that you can talk, or you can create whatever it is you want to create, does not in any way mean that you should go ahead and become soulless to the point that you consciously tell non-existent lies. against people and think that you can come behind and say, oh, I'm sorry that that happened, and that makes it okay. It doesn't make it okay. And because it doesn't make it okay, for what is what, AY, drag this to wherever you want to drag it. You have the right to protect yourself, take it as far as. If you don't do that, the same people will say, oh, maybe there's some element of truth in it. Oh, maybe that's why, what's his name's wife's name? Mabel Makun is busy saying all that. Oh, maybe he's that is going to marry May, Yule Doche. Just imagine that. So I don't know what is going on in our world, but for what is what, when people do things like this, I totally agree. They should be taken in, and they should, their action, whatever consequences that is due for their action, should be meted out to them. And that's been Anchor's Chat, everyone. We'll come back to you after the break.
For a wedding and he came back with a car. How is that even possible?
Haven't you heard the saying that with God, all things are possible?
Spare me all that and tell me what's going on.
You're not even
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable
On the point.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Good to have you back on Atlantic Blowout, and Kingsley and I are set to bring you the stories, and we'll have a live guest seated in our studio. But for the very first time, join us everyone to welcome Sir Chris Amechi to Atlantic Blowout and to Atlantic Television Network. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, gentlemen, let's hit the road. I took off from Rivers State. Lawmakers to write the Rivers State House of Assembly on 100th legislative sitting have frowned at the recent appointment made by the governor. Recall that earlier on Monday morning, Governor Fubara had appointed Mr. Goodlife, acting chairman of Local Government Service Commission, Dr. Mrs. Ine Briggs as acting director general of Bureau for Public Procurement, and Mr. Tonte Davis as acting administrator of New Cities Development Authority. The House, in a statement assigned by Martins Wanchbu SA Media to the Speaker, Rivers State House of Assembly on Monday, said the House, through the Majority Leader, Honorable Major Jack, called the attention of the House to a government special announcement in that regard. He cited sections of relevant laws. Members commented on the information and pointed out of his powers has relegated the laws to the background. He said the Speaker, Right Honorable Martin G.K. Ame, would have said the governor, in appointing someone to act as the administrator of New Cities Development Authority, a body not known to any legislation in the state, is condemnable. The Speaker further averred that the appointment of an acting chairman of the Local Government Service Commission and an acting director general of Bureau for Public Procurement are acts inconsistent with the provision of the Commission and the Bureau. The House voted in the affirmative and resolved to write to Governor Fubara to draw his attention to Section 44, Subsection 3 of the Rivers State Local Government Law Number 5 of 2018 and Section 5, Subsection 1 of the Rivers State Public Procurement Law Number 4 of 2008. All right. Sir Chris Amechi, let me take off from, generally, you're a son of the soil, but you have not been in the country. This is your coming in the midst of all the opera. Quickly, before we even get into all of this, what's your take, a general analysis of what's been going on in Rivers State from your perspective?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to your studio.
Thank you for being here.
And I am not strange to what is happening in Rivers State, because even though I live overseas, I am very much often in the country.
Okay.
So, and I am also following up the events politically in Rivers State,
okay,
as well as Nigeria and global. What actually played out in Rivers State is a situation which should have been avoided right from the first. Ab initio should have been avoided. A situation where certain individuals decided to wear an overbearing influence in the political landscape of the state and decide to be the deciders of whatever would happen in Rivers State. Anyway, it happened, and somewhere along the line, disagreement came up. This disagreement should have been managed in a proper manner between both parties, but unfortunately, when greed and power plays out, I mean, it becomes very to manage the situation. However, we thank God. I will just be brief in this. I don't want to go into much details. The sum total is that we thank God that the situation has been resolved.
Now, speaking of the situation being resolved, so the lawmakers said they are going to write the governor to over the appointment he made yesterday. Now, what I find interesting in this conversation is that the same lawmakers, I think that was last week, said they are going to veto, they didn't just say they are going to, they actually vetoed the governor's power over bills. And that is the very first time that is happening in the state assembly in this country. After they had done that, and what's their reason? They are saying that the governor wasn't sending correspondence to them or something like that. And they first of all threatened that they were going to stop receiving correspondence from him. And then after he submitted the names of the commissioners and reappointed them, and then he made this appointment, and that was that of the permanent secretaries, or particularly this one, they're coming out to say that clearly he has broken the laws. He didn't follow the laws that were supposed to. We're hoping to have a legal person weigh in on this. But the concern is, how do you probate and approbate at the same time? You are saying you're not going to take his correspondence. You actually vetoed him, as a matter of fact, before bills. And now the man makes appointment, yet you are saying, like, you want to eat your cake and have it. Realistically speaking, what do you think the assembly is driving at?
Well, I think that's another way of, stirring the troubles in River State politics again. It is just, I call it bullying. They just want to bully the governor. They are not happy with the situation, how the governor emerged successful at the Supreme Court. With what is happening just a day after that, they said they are going to override the governor. They did not only end in that, every step the governor has taken, you see them countering it. To start with, I will still stand like I maintain that this assembly should not have any legislative function for now, because there are a lot of litigation suits at the moment seeking the interpretation of Section 109 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I believe that, to me, even though I am not the court of law to pronounce them illegal, by the Constitution, their seats are vacant and they are not making any law or decision taken there is illegal. Coming to the appointment made by the governor has the right to make some acting appointments in acting capacities. Governor doesn't need to seek their consent or send to them to screen someone in acting capacity. When the governor decides to leave make the appointment a substantive one, he could not seek, maybe send to them to, screen and rectify. So, to me, I think they are overstepping their bounds.
All right. We'll come back to you real quick. Please, I'll come to you. Let me quickly welcome Barrister Archie Williams Obodo to Atlantic Blowout this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. We want to quickly have you weigh in legally on this subject matter. The Assembly is saying that the governor has broken some laws of the land by making these appointments without going through them. Legally speaking, what will be your take on this?
Well, first and foremost, everybody has to understand that in River State today, what we are operating is under the doctrine of necessity. There has never been any time in Nigeria since 1999 where you have more than 2/3 of assembly members not vacant. It's vacant. This is the first time. So the governor, from what I heard, I wasn't there when the swearing-in was taking place, but I understand that he made those persons in acting capacity. Now, you recall that we have just 3 persons who are members of the River State House of Assembly. If the governor writes to them, and to make the matter worse, of the 4 persons who were originally members of the House of Assembly, we had just, the Speaker was one of them, and the Speaker resigned his position as Speaker, and then also resigned his position as member of River State House of Assembly, so leaving us just 3 members. So clearly, what we're putting in River State is kind of a state of doctrine of necessity that allows the governor to use some persons in acting to run the government. Let me clearly. It doesn't matter how anybody wants to look at it. The law is that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 109, subsection 1G, it says that once a member ceases to be member of the political party that sponsored him, he vacates his office. Now, the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, as lawyers know it and as Supreme Court has interpreted, is self-executory. What that means is that the Constitution does not wait for him to come and enforce it. It enforces itself. So the day those persons declared and said we are no longer members of PDP, the Constitution on its own takes them out of the chamber and put them out to say within the premises of the assembly, but they can no longer come through the chamber to make law. Now, when INEC tries to step in to conduct election and the members ran to court, what they actually went to court to do is to say to court, please, do not allow INEC to conduct the election until we are able to prove to you that there is a crisis in our party. So that does not put them back inside the chamber, the hallowed chamber, to go and make any decision. The Constitution has already taken them outside. And so when they satisfy the Constitution to say, wait a minute, there's a crisis in our party, and that's why we defected, it is the Constitution alone can put them back. I've said before that not the High Court, not the Court of Appeal, not the Supreme Court of Nigeria have the power to obviate the Constitution, to stay the Constitution. The Constitution is self-executory. It has executed itself from the day the gentleman ceases to be members of PDP.
Right, Barrister, I'm going to ask you another question. This is based on the matter of the New Cities Development Agency. This faction of the Assembly says that agency is alien to laws, but the governor has gone ahead to appoint a director for that agency as well. How do you interpret that part of the argument?
And if we also talk about the Greater Port Harcourt.
To say that the agency is alien to Rivers State is, to me, is grandstanding. I think that as far back as 2008 or 2009, if I'm not remembering, if I not fail me, the former administration under Right Honorable Chibike Rotina sent the executive sent a bill to the House of Assembly for the establishment of the Rivers State Development Authority. And the function of that authority includes developing new city areas for Rivers State. And so if they say that that law is alien to them, it begs the issue. It just shows that what we have there are truly not lawmakers who actually do not read to know the laws that Rivers State has.
You know, we have had them threaten to veto some laws, and they actually carried it out. We have had them threaten the governor, saying that they're going to they will stop receiving his correspondence and all of that. Now he has done what you said comes across as a following doctrine of necessity, and why they await whatever the position of the court on this issue would be. Now, their position of saying they are going to write the governor that he seemed to have taken some laws into his hands, if you may, does that put the governor or the development of Rivers State in the form of a jeopardy?
Well, it doesn't really put the development of Rivers State in total jeopardy. But for anyone to think that the crisis does not have any impact in Rivers State, the person may not be stating the obvious. For the Rivers Assembly members who are still, those former members who are still correcting themselves as members, well, my clients, sorry to say, have gone to court seeking the Inspector General of Police to arrest them, because they are acting contrary to Section 99 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria when they continually hold out themselves as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. So they are not members of Rivers State House of Assembly. What we have in the state, which has kept them too long, I guess, is because of an NJC policy, which we have not seen as lawyers, saying that for every matter that concerns Inspector General of Police, for instance, and all that, the matter has to be filed in Federal High Court. It has to be filed in Abuja. I haven't seen the copy of the NJC directive, but they are using that to frustrate matters brought by citizens in the state who are genuinely seeking to have the courts interpret the Constitution. Maybe because when those interpretations are done, citizens will clearly know that these non-House of Assembly members are parading themselves illegally and ought not to do so. So we are also calling on NJC and the Chief Judge of Rivers State to do their judicial responsibility and assign these matters to court so that citizens can ventilate their grievances as it relates to the crisis in Rivers State.
The All Progressives Congress in Rivers State have accused Governor Siminalayi Fubara of flouting the peace deal that was brokered by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to mitigate the ongoing political crisis in the state. The Rivers State APC Caretaker Committee Chairman Chief Tony Okocha, who spoke to journalists in Abuja on Monday, said in one breath the governor will probate and reprobate at the same time. You don't say one thing during the day and another at night, it will not work. He, that's Fubara, must obey the dictates of the proclamation he willingly accepted in the presence of President Tinubu. According to him, the one that will hold the governor at the jugular is the issue of representing the budget, as Rivers State's 2024 budget has not been presented. He further said Governor Fubara cannot run the state without a budget. So, interesting. Vivian, stop chuckling. It's an interesting situation.
Because the man is already spending the body, so I don't know. That's why I'm laughing. But let's come to sacred.
Really, when River State is interesting right now. It's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to be in the state to witness things like this. But you know, here is the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, a respected lawyer, Chief Tony Okocha as well, and he's saying that the budget has not been passed. The governor cannot govern without a budget. There you go. The governor cannot govern without a budget, and he must present the budget to the House of Assembly. Now, the barrister will weigh in on this definitely, but you know, I'm wondering which House of Assembly, which of the houses?
And to add to that, which is why I was chuckling. When he said that you can't run a state without the budget, the man is already, he has been spending the money and doing what he needs to do. Is it that Chief Tony is not aware of something?
Well,
help us here.
they said there is usually no lacuna in governance. The governor to just sit down and cross his hands without running the affairs of the state. The governor is already working, is already spending the budget. And besides, this budget was actually properly passed, presented to the assembly and passed into law. Tony Okocha knows that. He should go to court and then set aside that law, that supported the passing of the bill and the budget. As at the time this budget was passed, these 25 or 27 gentlemen has already vacated their seats. As such, the governor has every backing by law to continue the affairs of the state and to spend the money in the right manners.
Okay, Barrister, you're with us. Let me come to you. There is this side argument with regards to the budget presentation. Like you said earlier, for the first time we have of the members of the State House of Assembly in this matter of decamping under the question of their continued existence as members of the assembly or not. Now, the side argument is the 5 members of the House, as at the time the budget was presented, do not make up 2/3 of the total number of the House of Assembly. Therefore, it is not right that Governor Sim actually did present the budget to them. So we need clarification using your legal expertise on that part. How do we interpret the law of 2/3 of the House, and what makes a quorum and what makes a presentation legal or illegal? Kindly avail us. Particularly us your knowledge on that one.
Hello, Barisachi. Were you able to get the question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
We can hear you now.
Hear you.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now, first and foremost,
Okay, while we wait for the legal perspective on that, like I said, what I find curious is Chief Tony Okocha is a statesman in his capacity. He is an astute politician in his capacity. All right, we'll come back to yes. Yes, we can
hear you, Barrister.
I said first and foremost,
all right, one way to rectify that. So, he was in this state. He saw through the process. When you use the word, for what I want to ask the lawyer again when we can get back to him is, what is going to hold Fubara on the jugular when it comes to the budget? The last time we checked, several petitions are in courts. Fubara is a defendant in almost all the cases, and he's being told, you dare not pass that budget. I remember that about a fortnight ago, the Elders Forum went to court again on same subject, asking the court to stop him from passing that budget.
Representing,
that budget. Good. Chief Tony Okocha is aware. Now, in this same state, we also are aware, in this same country rather, that the Federal High Court, on the day the Federal High Court said, oh, the budget processing was not, the process of passing the budget has been nullified. That was a motor show. That same day, Abubakar, another judge, from the Federal High Court, said status quo should be maintained based on the case brought by the lawyer, the elders, and other persons involved. From our primary, elementary legal knowledge, we know that when a case has been filed in courts, all parties should naturally hold on until the court takes a decision. That is the law.
Yes.
So it beats one's imagination to know that someone in the capacity of Chief Tony Okocha would make such a statement. Do you think he was playing to the gallery, or do you think he's actually trying to set the hornet, maybe try to set up another issues or crisis in the state?
Well, with due respect, I see Tony Okocha as a politician, and I expect him to operate at the level we, the Rivers people, see him, rather than being used to play unnecessary opposition or trying to be a stumbling to the governor. Tony Okocha knows too well that whatever they call resolution that came or emanated from Abuja, from the presidency, is not binding on we, the people of Rivers State. We voted for the governor, and we are law-abiding citizens of the country. And there is no way that piece of paper, I call that piece of paper, from Abuja, will override or supersede the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is why so many good people of Rivers State, including myself and some of my friends, are in court at the moment. We are asking the governor, one, not to recognize the assembly. We're asking the governor not to abide by any decision or resolution that is stated in that piece of paper from Abuja. The governor has to operate by rule of law. governed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Tony Okocha knows that. There is no way you can force the governor to do this or do that, obey this or not obey that. That is bullying as far as I am concerned.
You know, you've used this word twice.
Yes.
Why do you think they are bullying the governor of Rivers State? Is it because, one, he is not the average politician? Is it because, two, he's young? Three, is it because he is on the quiet side?
I would say yes to all the three.
Okay.
He is not a career politician.
Okay.
He is a manager and an administrator. He's a career civil servant. He, all through his career, he's just been focused in public service and not in the political, the street politics. You see, there's a difference between politics and street politics. I come from, from my background of politics in England, where politics is played with ideology and policies. Here, politics is played on the street. What you gain or what you will not gain is what actually determines what everybody does in Nigerian politics. The governor is a gentleman. They believe he does not have the political clout. He doesn't have the stamina to withstand all this pressure, left, right, and center. That's the backing of somebody who thinks, he owns the political landscape and even beyond. So I think that what he is doing is still part of the bullying or distraction of the governor.
All right, we are just being joined by the former MASOB president, Mr. Comrado, if you may. Lagwase Piagbara, good to have you on Atlantic Blowout today. Yes, well, good to have you. All right, over now to you, Kingsley.
Right, comrade, welcome to the show. And I'm sure you have been listening through all the discussions. Like I was asking the barrister, there's a small matter of the legality or illegality of the budget submission by the Rivers State governor to the 5-man assembly, where a lot of people in public are, holding on to say that is the need why he needs to present the budget. It's the first time in history that we are having more than 2/3 of the House of Assembly with their status under a question mark, having defected from the PDP to the APC. So then, would like to have your opinion on that situation. Is it legal, or how legal is it for the Rivers State governor to have presented the budget, the 2024 budget, to the 5-man assembly as he did, and they are passing it into law? Is that also legal?
Okay, sorry, is the question for me? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay, the question is for Barrister Archie.
Okay.
Comrade Piagbara will come back to you shortly, please.
Okay, so, sorry, as I was saying, we must always bear in mind that there is a situation in the state. However, I do not think that appropriation law is one of the laws that you require to talk majority to pass. What you require to pass it is just a simple majority of members present. Now, Section 102 of the Constitution contemplates a situation where some persons may not be members of the House Assembly, or where some seats may be vacant. What the wordings of that provision does not say is the number of persons that may be vacant. However, it says that where seats are vacant, the House of Assembly has the powers to carry on their proceedings and affairs as if those seats were not vacant. Now, if you take it to that point, when the 26 members defected and you have just 5 members of House of Assembly. The principal thing is that you had a speaker who was saddled with responsibility to preside over that affair of that day. Interestingly, I don't know how many persons have, but I have seen the Hansard and post proceedings of that day. I saw that everything went properly as assembly business should happen. So the law passed by the Rivers State House of Assembly, the appropriation law of 2024 was validly passed and legally passed. Now it was also presented to the governor for assent. There are situations where citizens may not be happy with any provision or with a legislation that has passed. It is not within the jurisdiction of the president. It is not within the jurisdiction of Tony Okocha or anybody, even myself, to declare a validly passed law illegal. It is the business of the court, and the court is able to have jurisdiction to do this. The second group of persons that have jurisdiction to do that is the assembly itself, and that is by either amending the law or repealing the law. None of those has been done. Martins Abehude and those he leads cannot void any laws because they cannot repeal any laws because what they are doing is charade, is an abuse of the constitution, and no citizen of Nigeria should indulge that, encourage that. I don't want to speak more about what he said, and the document which is emanated from Abuja. The document is unconstitutional. It's attempted to usurp the powers of the assembly. It attempted to usurp the power of the governor. You usurp the power of the assembly by repealing the law. It usurps the power of the court by declaring the law void. So that's if the governor wants to obey it, he cannot obey it because it's unconstitutional. He cannot obey it.
All right. I think that nails that to the point where we can. Let's really wrap up on the issues around Rivers State. Comrade Pierre, I'm coming to you quickly. From threatening the governor to veto him over some laws, which the assembly did, and also now questioning why the governor would appoint some persons in capacity, and now the chieftain of culture saying that Fubara must obey dictates of peace deal, the 8-point peace deal given in Abuja. The governor has made some progress. He has made some good progress. He has sent some name to the assembly. He has done some things. But he also said clearly he is not going to do anything that is not constitutional or illegal, or that is not in the interest of Rivers people. The question then is, we also know that there is a matter in court on the subject matter which has to do with the passing the budget and all of that. But having Tony Okocha say that the one that will hold, quoting him, that is, if I can also say paraphrasing, that will hold the governor on the jugular is a resubmission or representation of the 2023 budget. So we'll listen to the legal mind, explain, elucidate on that. We also had another statesman in the studio elucidate on that. Let's quickly get to have your take on all of this issue.
Well, I think that without appealing to emotional, sentimental emotion, and all that, the issue in the River State, sitting in was quite unfortunate, is out of the fallout of the defective electoral system that we've been contending with over the years. Those are also have been the campaign for a better electoral process in Nigeria. Because if not so, I think it would have been possible for one single individual to hold the whole stage because of the manipulatory electoral process that over the years have thrown all this kind of situation. It as it may, of course, for me, what is happening purely a case of the bullying, of training and absolute attrition. I don't think that even the presidential intervention was actually intended. and they all begin to put the governor speech. As far as just like my friend mentioned, another piece of paper, I don't see anything that will gear to resolution of the crisis in Rivers State. All they wanted to do was to create a platform under which or for which the governor will be held hostage in governance political 3. And that is quite unfortunate. And that is why for me, I think that no sane human being will go about trying to implement all that was stated. Yeah, the president intervened with good intention. And that for me, I am part of those who don't even support the governor implementing the details of that so-called resolution. It wasn't intended for peace. It wasn't intended for sanity in the system. And it wasn't intended to make the governor to reform in the governance process that he has or is embarking on. The president himself, no antecedents and all that would accepted to implement that type of resolution. And for me, it goes against all the rudiments of people that have ever endured or engaged with all over the world. As for the Constituent Assembly, the lawyer have said, and like we know from our own knowledge, I don't think we have Democratic Assembly beyond the 4 or 5 that in the party upon which they were elected. As far as we're concerned, those who left the party and went to another party automatically, or for all understanding what's going on in those states, I'm not a member of the Democratic Assembly. And that is where we need to dig this from. Whether there was a issue or there was no resolution, the president, in terms of a peace process, the president could have also implemented without making requests. The already crisis that happened in terms of people already gone to court. So what did they make attempt to approach the court to say we're getting part out of the court, out of court? The president never made such effort. So what are in saying these guys who are defected, whatever, I don't remember, that's what I'm saying. You sit there because you're president to dictate who happen in the state, that people have already declared themselves or there are no members of the political party, and by then, consequentially, can no members of the assembly anymore. So for me, I don't think that the president actually meant well for the people of the state, for the government of the Tubara, but also believe in sanity and of course a better way of doing things. As far as I'm concerned, what we are just seeing going on at the moment is probably legislative response and very legislative booking, trying to see what they want to do. You must give it to the government. So far, I think for me, with all same responsibility, I think it managed to try to even keep to some aspects of the so-called peace resolution, which of course we not even accept. But for the purpose of moving, I think I've made certain overtures, I've made certain attempts to even try to support the pressure from the production of that so-called peace resolution. The president, which I mean, doesn't at any time or doesn't in any way indicate president interested in resolving the crisis in Rivers State.
All right, thank you. Comrade, we'll come back to you.
All right, and in Edo State, the governor Godwin Obaseki has ordered the state security vigilante network operatives reaccreditation of the vigilante numbering over 6,500 in an effort to strengthen the state's security architecture, crime, and ensure the security of lives and property of residents. Governor Obaseki gave the order in a security briefing at the Solomon Arase Command and Control Center in Benin City and in the company of all security chiefs in the state. The governor said, "We are having this security briefing this morning to let the public know the measures that security agencies and the Edo State government are taking to secure lives and property in Edo State." As he said, quote, "We all are aware of the security challenges in the state this weekend, particularly in Edo North, where in the guise of burial, some citizens resorted to arson and assault on security agencies in Oja village. Government can't fold its hands and allow a breakdown of law and order in the state, as appropriate action will be taken, and we have resolved to deal with what happened last Saturday."
6,500 vigilante.
It's interesting, let me do a long list security groups that have been created, the major ones. In the north, we have the Sharia police. Now we have Mieti Allah, forest guards, whatever they call themselves. In the west, we have the OPC, the militant faction. We have Amotekun. In the east, we have the IPOB militant faction. We have the ESN. A few years back, let's not forget, we had the Bakassi boys.
There's someone you forgot in the southeast. Ebubago, the one set up by the governors.
Wonderful. Okay, so I don't know that one. I'm enlightened. So we have Ebubago as well. How many so far? I think about 11. In the south, interestingly, we do not have any.
Definite.
We do.
Which one?
Cospac.
Yeah, that's in the River State, we have the, but there's no regional.
No regional one.
The OSPAC is now is just within River State and not all part
of River State.
Not all part of
within the Ikwere, Obiabo, Eche.
Access. Okay, so yeah, in River State we
have.
But
in South there's no regional vigilante.
You know, so I mean, I always ask this question. Where then is the Nigerian police force that are supposed to maintain domestic security? Because we also now have, as constituted by the federal government, we have the Nigerian
NSCDC, Nigerian Civil Defense Corps.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, I always wondered, I still wonder.
And they are now armed, by the way.
What is the job of the Civil Defense Corps? And what is the job of the Nigerian police? If we have need for a larger security apparatus, why not employ these people into the Nigerian police force and have them do the job instead of what the other agency is doing? And with granting these licenses to these groups, regional groups, or smaller groups in different states, there are many. You know, I mean, estates in various parts of the country even have their own vigilantes. You know.
But before you take this question, Sir Amechi, we'll take a quick break.
Right.
When we come back, we'll get to deal with this and many more issues. Everyone stay with us. We'll come back to you after the break.
Welcome back. It's still Atlantic Blowout on Atlantic Television Network. And before we went on that very short break, where the security situation in Nigeria and how that we have so many different groups handling the same responsibility. This issue of duplicated responsibilities. I've gone through a long list of about 12, 13, 15 different security organizations in Nigeria. On the government side, we have also listed the NSCDC as, of course, carrying out the functions of the Nigerian police force. I mean, now they can arrest you. They carry arms. So what is the job of the Nigerian police force? If the police has failed, Can we scrap it and know that we have the NSCDC who are carrying out the function of domestic security? If the police has not failed, why have we created another body like the NSCDC to carry out the same functions? Why not employ these people and train them and absorb them into the... And let's know that it's the Nigerian police force we have to deal with. What part of Nigeria you go to, you have different organizations running the rule as security. I mean, in Edo State alone, we're talking about retraining 6,500.
All right, let's get to deal with this particular one.
Yeah. Anyway, the situation is actually embarrassing for a country like Nigeria. We seem to have drifted backwards like 50 years into the system. As far as security is concerned in this country, like you just mentioned, there is this multiplicity of a security network or security apparatuses. You've got the army, you've got the navy, you've got the air force, you've got the civil defense, you've got the police. Yes, they face serious challenges. Yeah, granted, their job is not to the defense forces is to defend and maintain, defend integrity, territorial integrity. Yeah. But however, a lot of them, 90% of Nigerian police, navy, air force, are all into domestic operations, and yet we're still facing this problem. Apart from in the north, where maybe some areas in the east where we have security challenges, the rest of the country is faced with serious criminal problems. The police is there, and at times I don't blame the police so much, because the government, even though we see in paper, we see in the electronic media, read from paper how much the federal government has given to police, but we don't see it in actual. It's just in principle. We don't see these figures in practice. If you look down the road, you just imagine how many police vehicles can be able to run after a criminal. Check most of the police checkpoints. Every vehicle you see there has no tires.
Right.
They just keep the vehicle there. When they come, they sit in there and do what they're doing. You somehow again, the civil defense today, they carry arms and should have upgraded in their services, but a lot of them are more interested in running after activities that can yield money. They run after the boys doing bunkering. They run after vehicles carrying
illegal products,
whether legal or illegal products. Those are their concern. I've not really seen them going, after criminals. One of the days I just was caught in the community, they just came to harass some of the boys that sell diesel in the community and so on. When I spoke to one of them, I said, I mean, these guys are in the community at home. There is no refinery there. If these guys has gone to buy diesel somewhere and come to sell to people in the community, you don't have right to come here to harass him. I mean, possession of crude, possession of a diesel is not illegal. It's not drug. This is just a finished product, whether it was refined wherever, imported or refined in the creeks. But it is just diesel you're getting with him. At the end of the day, they left the boy. Now back to the services again, or the inclusion of OSPAC and other, I don't know if I call them, they're vigilante, they are not paramilitary. Even though they carry arms. My fear with those guys, 99.9% of everybody in OSPAC, watch their record. They don't have good records. How then do you think these people will actually enforce security?
Maybe is it? Let's bring this to Comrade Piabora. Maybe he can have a better idea. The duplicity of security operatives, whether you call them vigilante, forest hunters, or you call them creeks of Niger Delta, and if you may, other waterways supposedly protecting the pipelines, if you may, and then bring that back to the Nigerian police that is neither here nor there, with all the stories that seem to be coming out these days when it comes to security. How much do you think this 65,000 vigilantes in those states can do? Particularly, why is this coming just in the year of election? Why is this re-accreditation of these operatives coming at the point of party primaries and in a year where we have elections? What do you think is playing out?
Well, I think that we must ask security control in Nigeria, and it also sign of a failing state where everybody is not trying to create a whole system of dealing with security. And of course, as I said, we all have this footage generated at this point, and since 1999, I think there has been a deliberate effort to make sure that the security agency doesn't work optimally, give room to all this, all the creation of different types of security outfits. Why is it that the police have not worked? Just like a fellow colleague mentioned, if you need to expand the police force by employing more people, what is stopping you from doing so? We all said it this time that at the point that we are, the police underfunded, the police understaffed, the police are not well trained. So why do we not find ways to deal with those challenges with the police force? And then strengthen, of course, police are created purely to do internal security functions, just like to bring the NCSDC. So if we have these two clear institutions, the police, the NSCDC, working optimally, I don't think there would have been need to create all this. And that has also been the fear for some people about this whole thing about state police. Because just like you're saying in Edo State, why the sudden accreditation? When was it this period when election is around the corner? And whether good or bad, Tom is insinuating that this whole thing is targeted at bringing this to execute certain function in favor of the governor and his team election. And that is what everything every person will be suspecting. But beyond that, the security challenge that we have today has not been adequately confronted. It appears, those running the state, once it that way, the humongous amount of money that is being stolen on a daily basis. If you look at the humongous amount of money that is being reported or being stolen by one political actor or the other, and all the behind-the-scenes negotiation going on, if 1/10 of this money is transferred into strengthening our security system, we will not be where we are. So it is purely a ploy by the political class to keep us in this cycle of insecurity, so that those who are using security votes to do what they are doing will continue, so that who are increasing security budget even within the presidency, all of them will continue to do so. And that also give room for all state creation and Motecan and all the rest of them. Go back and see what they are talking about spending on security. You will marvel what this guy will tell you that spending on security in the last years. Unfortunately, this spending cannot be matched with restoration of security in the so-called community, so-called states that this creation are being masqueraded. So unfortunately, we've not had any real attempt. And that is why they don't keep deteriorating every day. And every political elite in our country is part and parcel of this game.
Thank you, comrade. Now, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Balabu Bakar, says the Independent National Electoral Commission should settle the outstanding bills of services rendered to the Electoral Commission. He spoke while hosting a delegation of INEC management led by the Commission's chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who visited the Air Force headquarters in Abuja. Abu Bakar said, "I would like to seize this opportunity to remind the chairman that there are some outstanding outstanding bills which are yet to be cleared by INEC. The settlement of those bills will enable us to serve you better. Speaking further, he said that the invaluable contributions of the INEC distinguishes democracy as a form of governance and paramount in its commitment to the people. Furthermore, it lends credence to the slogan that democracy is the best form of government known to man. He said, I would like to commend Mr. Chairman Yakubu for the numerous initiatives which have occurred under your watch, some of which included continuous voter registration, introduction of new technologies, voter education and sensitization, and post-election reviews. He said another laudable milestone achieved was the Electoral Act 2022, which introduced reforms aimed at more timely organization of pre-electoral processes, transparency in results collation and reporting. He said, I assure you that we will remain willing, able, and ready to continue supporting INEC as we have always done in the past. At the moment, our C-130s are currently undergoing maintenance, but we have other aircraft that can be employed to move sensitive materials. He said the caveat is that we need to move those materials a little earlier due to the capacity of the airplanes which we have available. Speaking earlier, the INEC chairman congratulated Abubakar on his appointment as the 22nd Chief of Air Staff, and all other really promoted officers are serving at both headquarters and elsewhere. He said, the pending bill the Chief of Air Staff mentioned is a work and mandate of federal government and not solely about INEC and would be addressed appropriately. I'll come back to you on this. Comrade, let me stay with you on this. Sir Mitchell, I'll come back to you. This conversation that these two men had yesterday, where the Chief of Air Staff is basically saying, we are here, we are ready to work, just pay us. If you're able to pay us, we get the job done. How did we get to the point? How did we get to the point? INEC chairman went to him to talk about moving some materials for the by-elections. And then he's saying, you guys are owing us, pay up. If you want this job done, pay up. And INEC chairman is saying, actually, the money he's talking about, we are not the one who should pay. He said, Hassan said, INEC is owing them. INEC is saying it is the government. Let me understand something. INEC was fully funded for the 2023 general. I believe that there would have been a supplementary budget for the off-season election and the by-elections that they are holding right now. Quickly, if you may, from your take, what do you think is playing out here?
Well, I can't adequately comment. All I do know is that the electoral act, because all the law during election, it's totally mandate the security agencies work in collaboration with the electoral umpire to deliver on our elections. That is very clear. When it comes to money, I'm not aware or know whether they were, INEC was supposed to pay for the services these security agencies are supposed to do within the context of that election. So when Abubakar mentioned this, perhaps there have been some arrangement put in place for INEC pay for services. If that is the case, then of course it's also unfortunate if INEC have not redeemed on those pay, because they were adequately funded for the election that the Chinese got election that took place last year. They were adequately funded. There was no case of saying I had money. They had money enough to make sure that every aspect adequately paid for. So if the Air Force staff is making those claims at this point, then of course something is wrong. It means that if the post-election review that the also made reference to was not also properly done, because that would also be part of the things that could be reviewed at post-election review, to say that we still have some outstanding financial obligation that we need to complete. So, and also unfortunately bringing this whole thing to the public square, because this thing they could have settled amicably without bringing it to the public knowledge.
I'm back to you, sir. Chris, let's look at this. It's in public right now. apparently the Chief of Air Staff quite clearly is not pulling any punches. He's saying it as this: we are willing to work with you as the law dictates, but you are owing us money. Pay up, or you probably need to go and hire wheelbarrows to move your materials to site. And he has demanded that they expedite action because, like he said, the regular aircraft they use are unavailable due to maintenance. It tells you they probably have smaller aircrafts. So if we're going to be moving this magnitude of materials, we need to start moving early. So the Air Force, not the Navy, the Air Force has come out to say, this is what we want to help you do to achieve your goals. The ball is in your court. Mobilize us and we will move. We are ready to move. But the first question I want to ask is, we saw Yakub Mahmoud reel out humongous sums of money as a budget for the last elections. The Air Force is being owed money.
Anyway, just like Comrade Piawara has just said, it is now, the whole thing is now within the public domain. That's why we are commenting. Ordinarily, we don't know the terms of the agreement between the Air Force and the INEC and how they all started. Yes, agreed. And I will agree that money was voted reasonable. So much money was voted to INEC and Mahmoud to run the elections. I don't know the reason why they decided to use Air Force. Should it be that all the private carriers and there are a lot of companies within Port Harcourt and within Nigeria that lease and charter, where you can charter aircrafts that can carry this material? Is it that they are not functional, that he decided to use the Air Force? And so if the reason for using Air Force is because of security,
right,
this could play out. Maybe they are not only just using their aircraft, but also using them for security purposes. Now, we'll look at it this other way again. Air Force is a defense agency and not a business organization. They are equally funded by the same government, which we all contribute to. Why would Air Force do a job for government and they're asking for money? I don't know why that should come up. It's just like coming during the election, the police will mobilize thousands of policemen on the road and they will say, INEC, you have to pay us. Who knows, maybe INEC equally pays the police for doing their job, which is wrong. I think it's not supposed to be. Nobody paid me to come and vote. I come out to vote, that's my own responsibility. The policeman is employed to, provide. Shouldn't ask for money. We've got those aircrafts maintained and purchased and maintained by the federal government. When you ask them to do a job for federal government, they're asking for money. And meanwhile, government votes so much. The greater part of our budget goes into defense. What do they use the money to do if we have to pay them for everything they do for us?
You call the police in case of crime and they tell you, send us fuel money.
Yes.
Maybe that's how the FSA said, we are willing to move, but send us aviation fuel money. Vivian, over to you now.
All right, let's quickly get to Kano State, everyone. The governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, on Monday denies the entry into any agreement with the presidency before the Supreme Court judgment of January 12, 2024, determining the state governorship election petition, which he emerged victorious. A statement issued and signed by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Tofa, on Monday said the purposes of emphasis the rather fake agreement, noting Governor Yusuf has accepted to cross carpet to the ruling APC Jatisidin purported claim to dissolve or allow the 5 emirates halting demolition of illegal structures and establishment of Kano Elders Council should be disregarded. The governor therefore clarified that having secured his mandate through the popular votes of the people of the state certified by a fair affirmation of the Supreme Court judgment, he would not be intimidated by any political opportunists. Let me also remind those political jobbers hiding under the leniency of Mr. President that whatever political decision or direction that would be taken into Kano State will be determined within the confines of the rule of law and executive powers vested in the office of the executive governor. We debunk the rumor and categorically that no amount of blackmail will distract His Excellency Alhaji Abakari Yusuf from delivering his laudable projects and programs for the good people of Kano State. Also worthy of note, he said his establishment of Kano Elders Council, which is a personal initiative of the governor toward finding an endurable solution to the problems affecting the state's social, economic and political development. Hence, the Governor Yusuf was not under pressure to constitute the council. He insists that I wish to categorically state that Governor Yusuf did not enter any agreement nor condition with anybody prior to the Supreme Court judgment. He said, I therefore urge the public to dismiss and ignore the fallacy being orchestrated by enemies of progress. It is on record that my Lord, that the justices of the Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment with justice, equity, and fairness, and largely protecting the integrity of the judiciary. Critically speaking, let me stay with you, Sir Amechi. This idea of playing the charade with politics, party politics, if you may, that we have seen Ganduje play out. This is a response to Ganduje and the viral notice on social media, basically. Ganduje have been about, Yusuf, come and join us in the APC. Yusuf has said, I don't have a business joining you. And then he has even gone as far as saying, Kwanfoso, you're coming to join us in the APC, and when you come in, I'm going to be your grandfather. And all of those charades, is this what, narrowing it down to a secular being going viral on social media, alleging that there was an agreement? Is this the level of politicking a national party chairman, particularly a ruling party, with all of the arsenal within him? Is this the kind of politicking that is required to make Kano take over the APC in Kano take over the power in
APC takes over
power in Kano State come 2027? Is this the way to go about it?
Yes, I think everything is geared towards 2027. And you see, that's why we have a very bad system in the country. This government is just barely 6, 7 months or 8 months old, but everything about them is in the next 4 years. Jettisoning everything about governance, running after unnecessary things. Agreement or no agreement, why would you be after the man joining you right now? What will the governor of Kano leaving his party to join APC? What is the benefit? What benefit will it have to the federal government or to the system? Or would that improve the dying economy? No. But everybody is putting in more energy into something that is not reasonable, and then abandoning the ship of governance, especially the economy, to die. It's very sad. The same thing, asking there's agreement, no agreement, is just, I think I wouldn't doubt if there is anything like that. If the presidency would just go into agreement, forcing somebody to undertake science and that in Rivers State, I think they can equally do the same thing in Kano. Even though the governor can wake up now and say, I didn't sign anything, I didn't agree anything, but there's no doubt the presidency will condescend so low to do that.
Okay, comrade, let me take this one quickly from here on. Like I talked about Ganduje and the kind of politicking we have seen him display in Nigeria so far since he took over office, and this drive for a one-party state, if you may, and then bring that to the fore if you also consider the fact that these allegations being made right now generated from Ganduje himself and these conversations he has had so far. But let's even assume that there was an agreement reached with the presidency for the Supreme Court to do what may. We have also heard him say, oh, how magnanimous the president is because he did not interfere with the Supreme Court. And we are saying, are you indirectly saying he did? And boom, we have this secular being thrown about everywhere, talking about an agreement that was reached. What do you think this will do to our politics and to Kano State, considering the political permutation we have in that state?
Well, I I think that it is something that is a very serious red flag that all members of democracy that thinking on understand now. And there is actually clear move towards returning, towards making this country what it is. And it's unfortunate that somebody like the president is at the helm of that drive. Looking at what transpired even in the River State that he did well with that comment and then telling Bobara to join the APC and all that. So it's a clear plan, and as I say, it's unfortunate because we're always seeing him to be somebody as a Democrat, we always see him to be somebody coming from the pro-democracy background, and he knows that driving out towards a one-party state is anti-democracy. So when you see this sort of tendencies, it begins to bring to mind that most of these guys who paraded themselves before as activists, as pro-democratic people, are not actually pro-democracy activists. They are just who are creating plans for them to seize power, and then we see their true color. On your question for agreement, with what happened in River State, I will not doubt that there may not have been such move or such a thing in existence. But I think that perhaps the God of the job coming out boldly to say, no, I don't accept anything with you, which is, of course, is sort of even the governor of River State to do, whether it was an agreement or not, they doesn't want to care. Because how can we be subject to a democracy agreement that does not have any sense of law and order in it, agreement that are completely in contravention with the Constitution, to agreement that rather, instead of empowering our people, end up making some cliques and cabal of people to become those who decide on our affairs. So I think that whether there was an agreement or not, the position of the governor is quite clear. That is not going to be intimidated to implement anything that exists, whether they do everything or self-valid to him. But that brings to a question saying that the issue that Abako raised in his last lecture during the Senate President birthday about the existence of a mafia within the Supreme Court. So, and all of us know what it means to operate a mafia or a cabal in any system. Cabal operates or mafia operates without any regard to any rule. So, if at his own level as a former MP president can lay claim to the fact that there exists a cabal or mafia within the Supreme Court that needs to be destroyed, then that brings the question actually in danger in Nigeria. It means that that cabal can lead to certain things that can dictate what happens. I mean, people come out and say, oh, after the Supreme Court judgment, if not for the president, oh, I wouldn't have happened. Now, even the governor kind of come out and say, oh, we thank God the president did not interfere. What has happened? So, man, where are we going? So it's during the point now where everybody is paying tribute to the president, right or wrongly, or judgment being delivered by the Supreme Court. It means that the connection between the presidency and what is going on as far as judiciary is concerned at the moment. And that is the biggest danger, biggest threat to our democracy.
All right,
right.
Thank you, comrade.
Right, that's the biggest threat to our democracy. When we look at the recent happenings, like Comrade said, you know, every Supreme Court judgment, they go and pay homage to the president, saying thank you for not interfering or thank you for allowing justice prevail. We move on, and Nigeria's Minister for Marine and Blue Economy says sanctions for vessels that contravene sulfur regulations have been put in place by the federal government. The minister, who spoke during the arrival ceremony of the largest container vessel tagged CMA CGM Scandola, powered with liquefied natural gas at the Lekki port on Monday in Lagos, said, to put action behind our words, we have taken concrete steps towards the procurement of the necessary tools to enhance NPA's capacity for sulfur analysis. We have as well put in place a sanction regime for vessels who contravene the sulfur regulations. This will ensure we minimize air pollution created in the shipping industry by reducing the sulfur content of the fuels that ships use. So transition to the use of natural gas, which is more friendly, by vessels plying our waterways is a most welcome development. This is driven by the larger national interest due to the fact that Nigeria has quality, is reputed to be high. Nigerian gas quality is reputed to be high and virtually without sulfur. We will continue to support the NPA in its efforts at ensuring stakeholder compliance with the International Maritime Organization sulfur regulation on Nigerian waterways. It is definitely a laudable. I don't want to play devil's advocate this time around. I'm trying to be the good guy on this issue. Otherwise, I will ask the question, is this one more project that sounds very nice to the ears, but you know, that
process of implementation
Nigerian factor will kick in, and you know, when you come in and your vessel is tested and the sulfur levels are high, scratch my palm, I'll let you birth. Will that happen? You know, otherwise, I mean, is this another way for revenue generation for government? Quite clearly, if our natural gas is one of the best qualities in the world, and we're insisting that vessels who are berthing here maintain a certain level of sulfur, that will mean that we are forcing them to buy our gas.
Well, it is two ways. It could have economic implications. Maybe they are doing it for the fact that they want to market our gas. And or maybe on the other hand they are saying the environment. Which of the environment is more important? The environment within the sea or the environment where I and you live? Nobody is talking about the pollution right here in the city where we live, where 99.9% of the citizens live. You are talking about the pollution in the sea by foreign vessels. It should have been a good policy if, first of all, we have tried pollution within here. Except they are just doing it to generate money for the maritime industry. Otherwise, it makes no sense. It's just like putting the cart before the horse. You want to clean the environment along the sea while the environment where people live is filthy. We should be able to control the environment here, reduce the emission, carbon emission within our environment before we talk about the carbon or sulfur emission on the sea.
All right, a quick one, comrade, just to wrap the show up today. According to the IMO convention, the quality of sulfur that should be on the fuel oil for ships is 0.50. Now, when the minister says they are going to sanction vessels that are not implementing this, he also said that we have one of the best quality fuels out there. The question then is, what mechanism exactly is in place to check this fuel that these ships are using to ply our waterways? And like my colleague said, is this one of those big talks that we don't even find any way of implementing this? Because this 0.5 have come into place since 2020. And now we're talking about implementation in 2024. Your take, please.
That also raises a big question. So in between, mostly it was, as you said, was passing in 2020.
What over, yeah?
2024. Because that was intended to reduce the level of sulfur in the maritime fuels that have been moved into the country, and from 3, reduced to 3.5.
Yeah.
So during 2020 today, what have been put on? Does it mean that vessels implying our waterways without any check on the sulfur on the fuel? They didn't imply our waters. So for me, we need to find out what has been going on within the period before it to be made this public. Because it was intended to say for to protect our environment and also for our health. So if in between this period nothing has been happening, then we need to ask the entities that may be responsible for that. How have they been regulating the issue that have been coming in between 2020 and date? Why is that becoming an issue now? Because if implementation going on after the passage of 2020, we will be talking about Regulation 9/24. So it means that there have been a big implementation gap. It means that in between these 3 or 4 years, ships have been plying our waterways with all type of fuel that is not regulated. So I would congratulate him for taking this step now. There are more asking questions because they're very important. Things that we need to question those who are not fair between the period. And that's why I shall be not okay.
All right, thank you. I think that's the best way to. You can't just be betting the biggest ship and then suddenly you're talking about sulfur regulation and all of that. All right, gentlemen, it's been an honor hosting you two on the show. I want to quickly say thank you, Comrade Lebose Piagbara, former environmental activist and former President Mosop. Thank you for your time on the show this morning and your input as well.
Oh, thank you.
All right, you too. And thank you, Sakri Samechi, for finding time to join us on Atlantic Blowout. We can't wait to have you back. It's been an honor hosting you as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And everyone, that's been our show. We have to run now. If you missed any part of the conversation, as always, we got you covered. All you need to do is log on to atlanticnetwork.tv, where the website where you can catch up on live shows, or Facebook and YouTube Atlantic Television Network, or better still, follow us on other social media platform. On X, we're Atlantic TV Net. On Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And do remember that peace and unity remains the pathway to progress. And until we'll come your way again at 10 a.m. for open conversation, that's Kinsley and I mean, do enjoy the rest of your day.